All right, everybody. This is Dan Fringe. What's going on? It's Saturday morning, and I got some good people in today this morning.
You've got the best cast ever.
This is the French Workbench podcast. We're talking today about the Sands Casino and how gaming is starting to go away from Las Vegas. And we're going to talk with Michael Quebeman about that. He's in studio. He's been here before. And Michael Quebeman, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
Howdy. Doing pretty well. Happy to, be here again. Thanks for having me back.
You liking this weather or what, man?
It's not too bad. Yeah,
it's good weather, right?
Not too bad.
What was it yesterday in the Midwest? It was like 30 degrees.
Yeah, I don't know. I've totally forgotten about all that.
That's right.
Yeah.
West Coast for
I'm
sure
here now.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I got Brett Jenny in studio. He's always here on a Saturday. And, guys, a consummate professional coming in every Saturday. Yeah, every Saturday.
Borderline.
If he had a podcast, it wouldn't start 10 minutes late.
That's right. That's right.
Man,
It may be a lot worse, but it would be on time.
That's true. Dude, there's so many checkpoints. I
I'd
feel
be
like
a timely
I feel like
bad
I'm
boy.
flying an airplane here, man. It's just like you got all these gadgets and stuff.
Yeah, no, I know. You've got a lot on your end, so I just need to sit, I'm like the,
our half is easy over here.
we're like the lead singer of a band.
That's
right?
it.
So I grew up playing in bands, and every band you play in, the lead singer, he always has LED, right? LSD, sorry, lead singer's disease. So every lead singer of a band says, oh, well, all I do is sing, so I don't need to help set up equipment. Like, so when you're touring, you don't get a bus.
Yeah.
You don't get, all these people setting up your roadies and all these things, setting up your equipment. You got to set it all up yourself, and lead singers just want to walk in, set the mic. Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
While everyone else spends hours. That's us, and that's you.
He's got to warm up his voice and all that
That's
stuff.
right.
There's things.
Yeah,
So we're going to talk
totally
today.
hard.
Let's talk today about the Sands Casino and not the casino, but corporation. And they have the Venetian. They also talk. They own the Palazzo.
Yeah,
is that right? And
yep.
so what's crazy is I had a conversation with Mike yesterday, and I was like, Mike, a lot of things are happening around Las Vegas. You got things starting to open up. 50% capacity. I think this thing's going to go 100%. When you go down to the Strip. And even downtown looks like it's never lost anybody. The population just seems like it's just stayed.
Yeah.
But as far as the Strip, the Strip looks like there's a lot of people just walking around now. There's a lot of activity. People are traveling here. I think it's going to be very soon where we see 100% capacity.
People can't wait.
Yeah. Wait.
People literally can't wait.
So it goes to my point about gaming. And we talked about gaming because what is gaming going to look like in the near future? Let's say in the next 3 to 5 years. The Sands is pulling out. They're looking at, taking their gaming overseas, I believe, right?
Well, they already have casinos overseas, and I think so. The reason why I brought that up when we chatted yesterday was just that it's just interesting to me that a company that's been in Las Vegas for so long, one of the, basically an early
staple
on the Las Vegas Strip, seems to be potentially getting out of its, at least its U.S. properties for now. And I guess, what does that mean for the broader, gaming industry?
Yeah.
Here in Vegas.
Brett, so you talk to a lot of people, right? And you have
to.
You do.
Some talk back.
What are your thoughts on Las Vegas right now? Do you think this is opening up? Do you think Vegas is really starting to get back to its own?
100%. I think it's coming. I mean, isn't that Vegas?
Yeah.
Vegas never really, we may get dented, but we never really break.
Yeah.
Right? So the biggest dent that we had was in 07, 08, 09. But, what we kind of learned from then, which is kind of bringing into the conversation and the topic right now, which is diversifying. And that's something Las Vegas learned really hard in 2008, 2009, was if you have an economy that's only based on two things, construction and casinos.
Hospitality.
Yeah. Guess what happens when the economy tanks? The first thing people don't do is travel and go to hotels and all that stuff. So
they don't have money to gamble.
Yeah, so they learned a lesson, I think, as far as diversifying your economy, which has brought a lot of... Las Vegas, to me, has always been a place that's... Las Vegas can have some of the worst, but it can have the best and the brightest here as well.
Yeah.
It brings, just like life, it brings the best of both worlds, So there's a lot of innovation that Las Vegas, I mean, listen, we started out as a desert city in the middle of nowhere. Do you know how many desert cities were in the middle of nowhere that don't exist right now? A lot more than that do.
Yeah.
Why were we able to go from that to what we are?
The mob.
The mob.
Well, either way, it was an avenue of alternative thinking for marketing or business.
Well, you look.
I just think that this place was founded on great minds.
Well, look. So you look at the gaming industry or the gaming part of really the revenue that comes in. So let's talk about the gaming part of it. So you're saying, Mike, you've looked at this. Your wife works at the Sands. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so she's seeing this firsthand. She's seeing that there's a lot of people leaving or gaming online, or they're now going online to fix that. I wouldn't say it's a habit, but I would say it's something that they want to do. Maybe it's a leisure or luxury thing that they do because they have, they want to go on and spend money online. Is that what you're seeing right now?
Well, I mean, you can look at it from a number of different ways. I mean, obviously there's been a bunch of different inroads that have affected Las Vegas's monopoly on gaming, right? Like, I mean, for one, you've got, sports betting being available in essentially all 50 states now, which is a big difference. So people don't have to come to Vegas specifically to gamble. You're still going to have the March Madnesses and things like that, of course. But I think you've got that's a little bit of a sea change. You've got even within, like, you walk around on the floors and you see that a lot of times you don't even have dealers anymore in person. A lot of times it'll be, these screens.
Yeah.
And what's funny about it too is that they can change the model that shows on the screen too. So like if people are coming in and you've had requests for like a blonde or something like that, what's really funny is they'll
they're like noted.
Yeah. So you don't even have to go out and hire somebody different. You just change the screen and now it's somebody. And so I don't know. So there's part of it. I mean, you do question, right? Like if somebody's coming to Vegas for that personal experience, where is that going?
Yes.
And there's definitely a good argument there that I think Vegas will have to find a way to position itself to kind of keep that, because I don't know that they're going to be able to be the only game in town any longer. So now you have to make a niche for yourself, right?
Yeah. I
Personally,
yeah.
I think that as long as Vegas remains the idea of what everybody thinks Vegas is, people are still going to come here. Whether you do it through gaming or you make gaming a new way, all you're doing is make it conducive with the way that people interact now.
Sure.
So, but at the end of the day, they can do all these things online. Why are they coming to Vegas? Because they want to come to Vegas, like to come to Vegas. You see what I'm saying? It's like the same thing. Why is America still great?
Yeah.
It's not that our currency is the most valuable in the world. It's America is still an idea. Well, and as long as that's
I just think it like this though. So if you're old school, my parents, right? They go to gamble, they go play bingo. There's an element of doing this where you actually show up. It's almost like a process. It's like going out.
But that's going out the door.
Well, but some people still want that experience now.
As of now,
and I think you never know because it might come back. You know how things do. They go away, they come back. I'm sure that the online gaming and things like that is going to be something that is going to be a consistency going forward. But you're going to still have people that want to go and experience, when the buffets come back, if they do fully, they're going to want to do that. If they get,
of course,
they go there and they gamble, they get those
We
tickets.
were talking about this earlier this week, and I said, remember, you said, well, you're talking about this, and I said, man, all that started happening back in the early 90s when they started making it into mega resorts.
Yeah, but they
saw that. They saw that we need to make it more than about gambling. We need to have world-class restaurants, world-class shopping. I mean, it was also for the idea of not to let them go anywhere else. We'll bring them everything. They just need to stay here, one-stop shop. But that's what that also solves too, or takes on, which is we're not just about gambling. And it's like what you're saying. The buffets and all these other things.
Yeah. Well, as the Sands Corporation, do you think that they're starting a new trend for these other casinos? Do you think this is going to be the starting point? Because, I mean,
it's a good question.
Yeah. Did the Palazzo and did the Venetian, they recently were sold, right?
Yeah, that transaction is still ongoing, and obviously it's public knowledge at this point and all that stuff. But they're still in the process of completing it. But presuming everything goes according to plan, the properties, the 2 U.S. properties here on the Strip, will be sold to a different company, and the Las Vegas Sands is going to retain all of their overseas properties in Singapore, China, and stuff like that. So I guess that's a really good question. Does this signal some sort of change on the Strip? And I guess you can look at it and say they've been looking at this probably for a little while. You don't make a decision like this off the cuff.
Yeah.
And I know you could say potentially, well, Adelson, he passed away, and so now his estate is kind of looking at, okay, well, how do we kind of trim some of this down so we don't have to manage quite so much? Those are all valid points, but they were looking at selling even before Adelson had passed, and
because you have the new ones, the new people taking over, the younger taking over, and Addison being the old, like you're talking about, on the way out. And that's what I'm saying is every day.
Well, there's new things happening. I just think that there is something that where Vegas seems like it was built on a specific, like a certain criteria, right? It was built on a certain idea. And I'm not saying that idea can't change, but what I'm saying is there's going to be still people, I think that, look, my parents go do it. I'm sure there's others that do it where they go gamble, they get points, right? They get perks and comps, and they get rooms, right? And it's like, hey, you come here and gamble, we're going to give you a suite, right? And these things it depends on how much you gamble.
That will still always be there to a certain degree. Don't get me wrong, but I guess I'm believing in the idea that Las Vegas has always reinvented itself.
Sure.
Always. And that's kind of what we're known for.
Yeah. But I think to your point, like I think it's important to look at too the types of gratuities and the amount of gratuities has probably changed over time. I think Vegas 20 years ago was a more generous place than it is now, and I think you only have to look as far as parking as a situation where when I first started coming out here with my wife, when we came out to visit her family, and we would come around to the Strip. There was free parking, and I said, "There's no way this is going to last forever." And I'm sorry, everybody, I jinxed you guys.
Yeah.
But it was like,
because we're from a place.
Yeah, coming from literally any other city.
I thought that too, man.
Coming from literally any other bigger city, you go, "There's no way that free parking is like a sustainable business model." And sure enough, within a few short years,
dude, you want to park in Chicago? It's like $150 a day.
Yeah,
I'm not kidding, man.
It's insane.
It's crazy, right?
It's insane.
So look, Vegas has obviously found ways to make more money with parking. You knew that was a matter of time. I mean, look, when you start getting as big as corporate as it has become,
that's the thing, because it all became corporate.
Yeah. So, but that's my point though, is like if it's this corporate, right? And let's say things are starting to move in this direction, I can't foresee that they would take away all these, machines. You're going to still have machines.
They won't.
Right. So we're like the gaming part of it, poker. You got all this stuff. Like, where is that? They can do it online, but wouldn't you want to be in an environment, I would think?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you, which is all those people aren't coming to Vegas to do the things they can do online. They know what they can do online. They want the experience. So that's what I'm trying to get back to.
But you also know that gaming on an individual level is down, right? Like I would think that the number of there are still
they go to Wall Street Bets on Reddit.
Yeah, but is that because of COVID?
It might be. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
there's a part of that that's definitely true. Yeah. But I think I still think, and I don't have the numbers, right? Like I don't know. It's just a feeling that I have.
Right.
But I would say that while it's certainly true that people still show up to Vegas for the experience, there are probably some people that are these days saying, well, I can get that experience in a different way that's easy enough. And so I don't know if it's more of like we're all sitting here going, this is the way we understand Vegas to be. This is the way it will always be. But it's just, we're looking at it as a snapshot in time. Yeah. And in 10 years, it may look totally
different. The way that I look at it is I haven't known Vegas in the recent...
Well, it's changing. I mean, you go downtown, you go down to the Strip.
To me, Vegas, since I've been here for 12 years, has never been a city that people were coming out here to just gamble. People have always came out here, to my knowledge, for the Vegas experience.
Yeah. Well, we got people...
Gambling's so one little, granted, it's a big paying one.
Yeah.
But if you can just do it in another format where you're still bringing the same revenue, it's still just a part of your business.
Yeah.
That's not why.
Well, like I said, though, you got to look at it from somebody on the outside, right? So you look at others out of state. You got family in Wisconsin, right? Where's your family from, Mike?
Generally Wisconsin, but got some in Arkansas, North Carolina, all that fun stuff.
Wow, all over.
Yeah, it's all over.
I'm just Wisco.
Yeah. So, but you have to think, those people don't get to see that every day. And so they're probably thinking, well, it'd be nice to take a trip.
They come out twice a year.
Yeah, it would be nice.
That's their vacations, is to come to Vegas twice a year. Fremont.
Right. So there you go. So It's one of those things, man, that's like
Midwest special.
they want to come out, they want to experience it. So what does your family think about Vegas when, let's say they're in Wisconsin? Do they think like, dude, this is the biggest thing I'm going to do all of this year, right?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to tell you, which is if not twice, at least once a year, everybody where I'm from, that's their thing. They're all blue collar. You know, they all work blue collar jobs, and this is what they do is they come out to Vegas, like that's their thing. And they'll come out in groups, 6, 7, 8, 9 couples, or just, you know, once in a while they'll make just a trip out with themselves. But for the most part, they come out in groups and it's their thing. Once a year is to make their Vegas trip. And they go to show, like gambling is only one aspect of it.
Yeah.
They're like, the kind of money they're bringing out here to gamble with is not what's making the casinos rich.
And
But they're
something. Yeah, that's something. That's like a big point too. Is that I think that I think probably from the casino's perspective, you've got two big sources of income. One is the conventions, which currently are still, you know, on
They're coming back,
hiatus.
though,
They're
right?
coming
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
But then the other part of that is the whales, the huge gamblers that
Yes.
come in and they'll throw in millions. I mean, when you're talking about one guy who can come in on a Saturday night and drop $10 million, the three of us can go gamble.
He's not gambling
our
online,
life
dude.
savings
He's
away.
coming to Vegas to gamble in person.
But
Yeah.
that's the question.
They're gonna
is,
still
is
come
he
here.
coming to Vegas? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's
is-
a good point.
Is that there traditionally now, and I would say traditionally as in within the past 10, 15 years, a lot of those guys that have been coming in and doing a
Yeah.
lot of that gambling are Asian. A lot of them
Really?
are. Not
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's 100% obviously, but a strong section of the population that does that is from China, is from different countries that are very recently have gone through their own sort of like industrial revolution, right? Because those are all their titans of industry that made all of that money that would have been like the Rockefellers and things like that 100
Yeah,
years
they're
ago
moving
for
out.
us.
They're coming here and gambling.
They
and-
came here to gamble
Yeah.
because Vegas was the place to be. Now that you've got Macau, which is a big gambling hub over in China, you've got different places.
Sheldon
for them
Anderson
to go
knew
and-
he was doing on that one.
Yeah, you've got different
Years ago.
different locations over in Asia. The thing is, like I said, if somebody can drop $10 million on a table and the three of us can gamble our life savings away, and you know we don't matter in that sense to the casino, and you know it matters for us,
Yeah.
but you know.
Well,
This town didn't get rich by people winning.
so Mike, when you have family come out here, they
Yeah.
come out here, right? I'm assuming.
Occasionally, yeah. I don't come from a huge gambling family, but I've had a brother come out here. Yeah, I have it.
My family never comes out either. My direct immediate family.
No.
My brother came out for the first time last year, and I've been out here 12 years, and it's because my nephew had a college wrestling tournament out here.
Do you think they like you?
We get along great. We talk on the phone. He just he came out here, and he was here for like 2 days, and we met up, and then he gets home, he's like,
Dude,
man, I don't know how you do that city. Like, I'm just like, you need to stay in your cabin back in Wisconsin,
Brett's
man.
great, man. He brings that energy, and it's like, dude, you come in, you better be ready to go at it because he's ready. He's just like, rah. You know what I'm saying?
They're tired just thinking about coming out here.
That's right. No, believe me, I tell them to get a hotel. Anybody who say,
You're gonna need a break from me, trust me.
no, I'm going to need a break from them. Because you know how many times people come out, they have that spring break mentality. You can
sure.
hear it in their head. Like, hey, man, I'm coming to Vegas. I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh. Man, bro, I got like appointments all day tomorrow. So, let me know when you can
man.
meet for breakfast and I'll come down and say hi for 20 minutes. Have a good one.
Dude, it's Tuesday morning. Let's have a beer. It's like
I know.
got
You're
work.
like, dude, I mean, I work, pay my bills like living in this town. I'm not out here, but you can hear like, hey, man, I'm coming to Vegas. Oh, shit.
Isn't it crazy how, like, when you do have family come out here or you have friends or somebody, they want you to adapt to where they're at?
Yeah.
It's like,
Dude,
I got family,
I
I got things going on, I got to
Yeah.
pay bills, I got stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, man, just come down and just kick it with me for like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
I'm like, man, first of all, I got to drive 25 minutes down the strip. And then if I miss my exit, I got to spend another 30 minutes just going back around the block. Like,
It's crazy,
as soon as
man.
someone tells me they're coming to Vegas, I start automatically assessing my mind. I'm like, okay, how good of friends am I with them? Do I really like them? Or
Yeah, right?
I give a lot of credit to the individuals that work basically on the front lines, for a lot of that stuff in
100%.
hospitality because
Oh, dude.
when like you
Yeah.
guys are saying, when somebody comes out here, this is their one weekend of the year
Yeah.
or 1 week of the year to like what you do in Vegas stays in Vegas. That
Right.
sort of mentality, and that's their week every single week.
Yeah.
And I don't know how. I think at some point you probably tune it out to an extent.
You'd
but
have
there's
to.
only so much like craziness and stupidity that you can tune out.
Dude, I was on the strip. I worked the strip when I first moved
Did
out
you?
here. Yeah, when I first moved out here, I was working as a server. I was going to college. And I'm telling you right now, dude, I met so many people, but it gets very redundant. It's like every day's a party. Every day is like a next. It's almost like it just doesn't stop.
Man, you know what? If I was 21, maybe different, but that's
I mean, you're not going to do that now. But I'm just saying it's definitely a different lifestyle. But hospitality, we know, is coming back. We know a lot of things are starting to get back to where it needs to be. You know, as far as Vegas. One of the things though I'm curious about. So we talked about the Sands, and let's go back to that. So. Do you have friends? I'm going to talk to you, Mike. Do you have friends that actually go on and gamble now, and they're looking at putting their money there, and they're like, you know what? You know, you're a little bit younger than us, so I'm sure you guys have a little bit more, you know, familiarity with going on and gambling and making those things happen
online.
Yeah,
as far as part of their culture.
Yeah, it is. I think so. You know, a little bit, right?
Yeah,
so,
I think there's less of a you know, separation. Like I think, you know, there's more comfort with being online with everything.
Yeah.
With the younger generations. And so I can only speak for the people around my age group. So even younger is probably even more pronounced that way, that trend. But, you know, having grown up with a cell phone in your pocket, essentially.
Correct.
I don't think it's that odd for you to say, well, instead of going out, I'm just going to stay in and gamble. Or, you know, like online poker tournaments became a huge thing when I was growing up and when in high school and things like that.
Yes.
And that's one of those things. Like I feel like poker is definitely one of those one of those games.
We can call it a sport.
I suppose. They have
so is bowling though, supposedly.
It's all how you look at it.
Hey man,
the Big Lebowski.
You just got to do one of these as you show up. Remember, as you show up, you see that he just shows up with this.
I was sorry. Anyways, what were you saying, man?
But I was just saying, so poker is one of those games where you think, man, that's a pretty social activity. Yeah. It's all about reading other people and trying to know when to bluff and all those different strategies. And even that was going online. We're talking 15 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
So, and then you can even look at it, you know, you look at it from the casino's perspective. They used to have massive poker tournaments. And part of that was probably that fad where everybody and their brother was trying to play poker in Vegas.
Yeah, they always had the World Series of Poker at the Rio, but I think the Rio is going to change its name now, isn't it?
Oh, really? I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're changing their name. I forgot. I think it's another name. I don't know what it is, but I was looking that up. And they reinvented it.
One of my clients sells gold for that.
What?
The winner of the World Series of Poker. My client's the one that provides the gold for that.
Oh, really?
Just like throwing that out
there. Where did they use gold in the World Series of Poker?
Like they use that as the chips.
Like for their watches and like prizes that they get.
I'm just imagining like bars of gold sitting on the table.
No, you get cash for winning it, but like the casino and where it's at, all that, like part of the gifts that they give you for winning are like gold stuff and this and that, whatever, and you have like the ring made. There's like some ring, whatever it is. So he's in Tennessee, but he makes all the anyways.
Yeah, no. I was just thinking. So no, here's my thing is, what if Vegas is going to that direction? Mm-hmm. What is going to where do you think Vegas is headed in the next 3 to 5 years with not just gaming, but just in general? Are they going to stay off of or keep pushing out on, you know, moving the poker game or the poker tables and stuff? Are they going to be starting to just really do away with that? Because it seems like, I'm not going to say they're going to cut it down, but it seems like that if this happens and it works out, they're making money. What would they make money? What other places would they make money? I'm sure they can figure something out, right? Because that's probably a big part of it. I couldn't see that they would just completely take that out.
Well, I can't imagine they will. What I would say is that I think they're obviously seeing the same sort of trends that the general economy is, right? So if you look at, like we were saying, table games, that the dealers are being replaced by screens, or you can use a screen to show one dealer to a bunch of different tables, and so you only need one dealer, and then everybody else is looking at a television screen, and you're all working off of the same hand or whatever. So those economies of scale are probably too lucrative for the casino to pass up on. And so I think, you know, it's that same way when you go into like a Red Robin. I feel like they have those little kiosks right at your table where you just order your food. I think everybody is seeing that across the board. Probably what's going to happen at some point, if Vegas wants to stay Vegas, is they'll probably have to reverse that trend a little bit and say, like, if you want that, like, you know, that personal experience where you've got people coming and bringing drinks to your table and you're gaming with people right in front of you and there's people around you, like, if you want that, that's what Vegas is going to do. but Vegas can't make money off of that anymore. So we have to find other ways, like you're saying. And I think obviously having conventions come in was one of the big things. They've also, maybe they've got to partner up with some of these sporting events that are starting to happen around town, because that's obviously a big moneymaker for the city. And as the city, I feel like as it goes less, hard on gaming and becomes more of a more well-rounded economy, you just got to find ways to slot yourself in wherever those things
gambling is what they'll use to get you in the door. But that's not where they're going to make their money.
Well, I think it's going to be AI. Moving forward, it could be AI, where you have a lot of things.
Yes.
Even people coming up to you. I mean, I hate to say it, but down the road, cocktail servers, people like that are bringing drinks. It might be robots, man.
It might be.
I mean, it might be.
Like a little Roomba comes cruising up to your table.
Man.
People want a certain experience with their cocktail waitress. So. Just kidding. It's a joke, dude.
Hey, man. Hey, listen. It could be, though, right? And you think
I think things like that. I mean, even with the dealers, I understand having AI and doing all these other things, but once again, that's kind of really removing yourself from the Vegas experience, because you're coming out here, because all these things you can do at home online, like gambling and all that stuff.
That's not the point of coming to Vegas, though.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is the gambling is to get you in the door, but their money's to be made in other areas. So
you guys have family. Let me ask you something. So you guys have people come here. Maybe you got friends. What do they do when they come here? Like, what is it? I mean, I'm sure they gamble, but is there other things that they're like, well, I want to go shopping?
They sightsee.
Is it just people
one day they'll go shopping, but then they'll go out to Valley of Fire, or they'll want to go to this show or eat here or something like that.
So they do the whole thing. It's just they do the show, the eating.
Hardly any of them gamble. Like, gambling's like what they do if they got 5 minutes while they're waiting on somebody.
And I've got some younger friends that that's their thing.
Yeah.
And I think it depends. And as you get older, that becomes, for some people, maybe that's less of a high, and you want to go see some other things and whatever.
Right.
But generally, when I have people come out and visit, they'll come out and they'll go dirt biking in Boulder City or things like that.
How do they do that? They bring their dirt bike?
No, you can rent them.
Where do you rent dirt bikes at?
There's a couple places in Boulder City. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you can do that.
Yeah. So you can.
You didn't do anything here.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think that Vegas is already doing a good job of, that I think they'll just need to continue doing, is advertising that you can do just about anything here, as long as you're not trying to, bake in the 110-degree heat in the middle of summer. Like, if it's any other time of year, you can pretty much do it. You can go skydiving, gun ranges, all that stuff that Vegas is still kind of known for.
Yeah, they've always had people say, well, what else is there in Vegas, right?
Outside of Boulder City, you can go ziplining. There's like this huge zip line that goes like freaking half a mile or a mile or something like that, where you're just taking a zip line the whole time. And it's like right along Lake Mead.
Right.
CC brought up a good point. Drinking. You know what I mean? Restaurants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Those things are important, man, because I think people do come down here and they have an experience where there's some restaurants and some places where they eat, and they want that environment. They want that experience, because that Vegas is trying to do it big.
There's plenty of people I know that are foodies. And like, that's their experience of why they come to Vegas, is to eat all these different wonderful restaurants and drink all these different drinks.
Yeah.
That's like why they're here.
Vegas might also benefit from starting to highlight some of their like more vintage stuff. And I know that's difficult for Vegas, considering the fact that they've been in a constant revitalization and tearing down old casinos and putting up new ones. But there's restaurants and bars that have been around since the Frank Sinatra days that I feel like, if you can start to, and especially because I feel like even in my short time here in Vegas, and even having known my now wife for about 8 years, the difference in, I think, local pride is a huge thing. And I think you get a sports team, and you get different things that start popping up 100%. Here in the area. Like Tony Shea.
Tony Shea, yeah.
Tony Shea, his whole thing about plugging all that money back into Old Town Vegas, like, There's starting to become a lot more of that, and I think that trend will only benefit Vegas as it continues. That, like, maybe we shouldn't tear down just about everything, but we should keep some of this up as a reminder of like vintage Vegas.
You say they just doing that with the Huntridge? I think it is the theater.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's been down for a while,
dude.
right?
Right.
Ever since I've been out here, that's never been opened.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
I've been here
that
12
was one
years.
of the biggest places that they had concerts, right?
Yeah. Dude, the
biggest-
Killers played there in like 01 or 02 or something like
You
that.
drive by it now and it looks like a haunted mansion.
Dude, I'm telling you. Yeah, I wouldn't be hanging out there, man. I mean,
You got some zombies, you got some zombies walking around there too. So, in that area. Yeah.
but that's what it takes is somebody with some money, which this town has plenty of it, to come in, and it's the same thing. It's a guy who grew up here.
Yeah. People who
Vegas pride, dude.
Yeah, and I so part of that too is obviously the shooting that took place. I think that galvanized a lot of people too. And I'm not saying that that's a positive thing, but what I am saying is that like there, you can kind of feel a little bit of a
You talking about over at the Mandalay Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
just a
crazy.
terrible thing.
Yeah, man.
So but what you saw as was an outpouring of sympathy and whatever and togetherness. That I think you saw the same thing with 9/11, right? Like that immediately in the aftermath, it was like, well, we're a country, and in this case for Vegas, it was we're a city, and we're gonna get through this together.
Yeah,
and
I think like the Vegas Knights and the Raiders too, man. It's like It's like you embrace it. I'm not gonna say I sit there and watch everyone. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people though, man, that love sports towns and sports.
Like to know you're
and it's like I don't know, man.
Like, think about it. You can say, dude, I was a fan from day one of from the very first day, dude. Huge.
Mike, do you have a sticker on your back of your car with the big the Knights logo?
I don't have a sticker. I probably should though.
He's representing there, though, man.
How many logos did you see when we first got that team?
Oh yeah,
dude, it was like every car.
Yeah.
It's like
what that dog bark flurry or whatever the hell is. That was actually pretty cool, dude, because I love dogs.
But I think that's an indicator that people were starving for that, right? Like people need
100%.
Because whatever it is, man, there's just something in us that wants to be a part of a collective, right? Like there's a part of us that wants 100%. To belong, and I think
Vegas too. Yeah. It doesn't have like culture, like a long history of culture, and I think that's what identifies us now. It's like, hey, we're starting to generate.
Everybody hears from culture. Somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For the most part, that's our identity.
So it's guilty as charged.
Yeah, me too.
Now it's like, exactly. What's this? He's like right at my face.
Hey, right.
Hey,
you're watching me. Going back to the gaming though. Okay, so where's that money going for the Sands? Let's say, okay, they pulled that money out, the money they were going to pump back into that. Are people losing jobs because of that? Like, are people starting to, you know what I mean? Because if they're taking away some of that gaming revenue or money that they were put into it, they're taking it overseas, you said? Is that right?
Well, so it's already overseas. And
okay.
I think with the buyout or whatever of the properties, you have the people that are there on the property that are going to stay there and they're going to work there. And then you have the rest of the individuals that were already working for the international stuff that are going to continue doing that. And so generally it's just a clean break. It's just a split. And there's probably some dividing up of, who should have what responsibility and all that stuff. But generally speaking, I think it's just one of those things where it's we feel as a company that our time is better spent focusing on our international properties.
So they have no say and no control over the physical buildings and what happens there now or anything like that.
Once the transaction closes.
There's just a completely different entity.
Somebody else will own it.
So they can run it. They can operate however they want. And
this happened similarly with Caesars, right?
Yeah.
They went into bankruptcy and they got bought, and so now once you've got that new owner, they've got the right to take it in a totally new direction.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens. I think it'd be interesting to watch and see if the Las Vegas Sands eventually gets another property here in Vegas, or if they just consider it as this is not their market anymore.
Yeah.
And to your point, you had asked earlier if this is going to be something that gets replicated with other casinos on the Strip, or if this is just really kind of a one-off thing.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch and see if this is part of a trend or if this is simply just an internal business decision. I think
it'll be very easy to tell. If they're successful with it, the rest will follow. If they're not, they won't.
Yeah,
just super simple.
Cutting out the Las Vegas portion of their property, their portfolio, and continuing.
They're like, we're just going to sit back and see how it goes for you, and make our decision later, just like all businesses do.
Yeah. What do you guys think about shows?
Based on information.
Do you guys think the shows? Do you guys think that a lot of the nightlife? I mean, it's going to be there, but is it going to be the same? Are they going to do away with shows potentially, or were they?
No, dude. People come here to see show. I mean, I think that's part of
what it is.
Part of, like I said, gambling gets them in the door, but casinos are willing to spend a little money to make a little money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a huge money driver for them.
That's what I'm saying.
So I think
Yeah.
they'll continue to do it to create the experience.
Yes.
I think it's part of the total package, but
Yeah.
I don't know that people are flocking to come here
Correct.
because they can see Carrot Top.
It's part of their advertising bill.
Well, I think so,
You know?
I think some people do, but I mean,
Yeah.
is it the staple of bringing people to Vegas? It's part of like that small part
Yeah.
experience that just adds another element. you
Yeah,
know?
right.
It's not something that's like the defining thing that makes them a lot of money or
Mm-hmm.
revenue. So it's just curious. What's your favorite show, Brett? Have you been down on the Strip? Have you gone to a show?
I haven't seen that many shows, man. I saw Mystere.
How'd you like that?
That
man?
was it was pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely a unique experience. It was a really small theater.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like you think it's not. It's small.
Were you drunk when you went there?
No, I went with my wife.
And
I was drunk.
your point is,
I was drunk afterwards. No. It was a cool experience. I mean, it was definitely very interesting. You're not going to see anything. And that's the thing. You're not going to see any other thing like that in
Yeah.
Las Vegas. It's like the variety of shows that they have here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why people come to Vegas.
100%.
You know?
My show that I went to see was the best show ever. Was
What?
Zumanity, and they had that over. I think it was at the New York, man.
They discontinued that,
Dude,
didn't
that
they?
was the very best show. I had so much fun. Obviously, I went there and I was already sloshed a little bit. But
creative geniuses, though, for
dude,
these shows.
crazy. They would bring people on the stage and they would have a chair and they would sit there and they would do some crazy dances, dude. Then they would have, dude, it's funny because my dad was with me on one time. I went twice.
Yeah.
And my dad was with my mom one time and they run down the side. You know what I mean? Where the chairs are at. And so
Yeah.
these women, they're topless, they're running down.
Yeah.
My dad's doing one
I know
of these.
why you went twice, huh?
Yeah,
That's exactly right.
he's looking at his wife to see if she's looking at him.
My mom did one of those. Like, so it was like,
Oh, there's something there I didn't even notice.
yeah, right. It's just hard not to though, And it's like one of those things where it's just I don't know. It brings you into. It really made me feel like I was in the show.
Yeah.
I went and saw Caw. I went and saw O. These are the Cirque du Soleil. Very good shows. I think what Zumanity did was it did the same thing, but it brought like it was a funny part of it, right? It was something that was more entertaining to me. It was like I almost felt like I was involved in it more.
Mystere is like that too, where before the show starts, they have random people from the cast that like everyone's sitting there, the lights are up, and people are just sitting there like waiting for the show to start, and all of a sudden these cast members just come out and they just randomly pick somebody in the audience and start like picking on them. And like making fun of them.
Yeah, that's
like,
what they do.
Yeah, it's like I was
That's
like,
what they
I look
do.
around, I'm like,
Dude.
this guy better not come over here because I swear to God, I ain't cool like that.
You ever, if you go to the Comedy Stop, dude, I'll tell you a story. So my uncle, he went into the Comedy Stop, and he was like pretty heavy sized guy, right? And dude, he was like, "Do not sit us in the front. Do not sit us in the front." And he was like, "Please don't sit us in the front."
in the front.
Guess where they sat him?
Right in the front.
Right in the front. And he was like, "Oh my gosh!"
So-
and I was like, "He was like, all
You
right."
just got a barrage the whole
Yeah,
night.
because the Comedy Stop, man, it was raw. This was back like 10 years ago. Where
Yeah.
it's like they'll just let you have it. So he's just like, dude, he's
Roasting
just,
to
yeah,
his
he's
finest.
like, oh my god, like I
Yeah.
don't want to be there, So he's like sitting there and he's looking around and he's like, how do I get out of here? It's like, can I go up? Can I get out of this room? And
I
all of a
always got
sudden,
walked out.
all of a sudden, you got these two people that walked in, and I swear, man, they were really heavy set,
Yeah.
dressed up pretty crazy, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good. They're gonna make fun of these people because you could just totally tell."
Yeah, you can tell.
They were.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were coming in because they were part of the show.
I may look bigger, but they look like they're a
What
freaking
if,
grape.
what if he contacted them and was like, "Hey, you guys want to come see a show?"
Yeah, right.
Didn't tell him at all.
He's like, "I got 2 seats right here. Who
Yeah,
wants
yeah,
to come in and check
I
this
got
out?"
a couple of free tickets. This guy is hilarious.
The comedian before the show's peeping out the window, peeping out the curtain. Oh my God, I'm making bank this show.
So what's so funny about it is that once he started and they started going on and really like making fun of those people, dude, he was just sitting back. He's just like, yeah, like I got this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But dude, he's probably.
He's like,
Sit back.
this guy's actually pretty funny. Like, as long as it's not about him, he's
Sit
like,
back
damn.
and enjoying the show like he's a 180-pound guy.
Yeah, he's right. They are fat.
Yeah, right.
Not us, right, guys?
Man, it's crazy though. So it was weird because when you go into that, it's really raw, like in those shows. dude, they would literally let you have it. I mean, it was
Just lights you up.
It was just lights you up. It was no, we're gonna hold back. It was one of those things, man, where you come in and you better check your ego at the door. You know what I mean? Because you're gonna get.
Don't be all taking this personal, okay? We're just trying to all make money, make people laugh around here.
It's crazy, man.
Sounds like a Golden Knights show is a little more family friendly.
Dude, I would go to those. I would actually prefer the Comedy Stop over those shows that you pay $200 for. Dude, the Comedy Stop over, I think it was at the Tropicana. Dude, it was like only probably like $50. They'd give you drinks, you'd come in, and you would just have a good time, man. It was just one of those things where everybody was just.
Have you gone to comedy shows here since, like Brad Garrett's and things like that?
No, I don't think they're the same. I think they've toned it down a little bit.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like before, dude, they would just, now everybody's sensitive. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, I'm going to let somebody know.
He offended me. The world needs to
exactly.
change its laws because I was offended. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a different conversation.
Yeah, I feel like comedians have been some of the only people to be really open about that kind of stuff, because I think that's part of their livelihood.
To be honest with you, because they're probably one of the only lines left that can get away with it.
Yeah. Well, and all they have to do is say, well, it's just a joke.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
So they can get away with a lot more. And so I think for the past couple of years, you've had like Chappelle come out, Joe Rogan, a lot of people who have been like really critical of that movement. Yeah. And so I think that if you're going to find anywhere where you can kind of sit down and enjoy some off-color comments or something like that, that's probably in a comedy club somewhere. Just maybe not on the Strip in Vegas, where it's a little more geared towards.
Just know you're invited. Just don't be in a business meeting and. Hey guys,
what about a podcast?
Just kidding. Didn't mean to offend everybody in here. You take a joke, right? Still want your business.
I think too, though, like you look at Vegas and you look at it's coming. It's not going to be the same. I think there's going to be changes, and I think that with the gaming thing going on, going back to what's happening in Vegas, it's interesting to see. Like we said, what else do you guys think is going to be changing on the Strip, if anything? Do you guys think anything's going to go away, or do you think that they're going to keep pretty much everything and just kind of get it back very slowly?
I think Circus will close at some point, right? I mean, look at that place. Who goes there anymore?
People who want to get stabbed. Oh,
well, listen.
Did I say that online? Or my bad.
I went there when I was a kid, man. And I had the best experience. I went there when I was a kid. But you know what? Like that circus down to like the Strat, everybody's like the Strat. It's cool and it's a nice, it goes high and you can check it out and you can do rides at the top. But that area around there.
Yeah, that's what I try to tell people. That's like everybody from Wisconsin. They want to make their one trip a year and they always want to go hang out in Fremont. And I'm like, you guys realize like you go a block off of there and it's like, I'm just saying. Take an Uber from there to the other part of the Strip.
Well, I just think part of my comment on that is just not necessary. I mean, I think Circus has probably seen better days, but I think they're really
that's a politically correct way of saying it.
They're really more, I think, like an indicator that there's obviously with all the new casinos that are being built, on that part of the Strip. I think it's just a matter of time before some of the ones that we've gotten really comfortable with either close or change hands or whatever. And maybe this purchase of the Sands properties is part of that change. Like that this is the first one, and they're doing it in an environment where, generally speaking, maybe their numbers are down and whatever, but they're doing it at the right time. Yeah. And there's going to be a bunch of people that try to follow them afterwards, but because they were kind of like an early mover, that they might end up benefiting from it in a way that these other casinos that come after won't be able to.
I can't see the Strat making a ton of revenue. I really can't. Here's what I'm saying. They are at the end. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they don't have.
They've probably owned it so long, it's owned free and clear.
Well, I mean,
it's
something because if you look at that area around there, they just recently had somebody that was found dead in one of those apartments behind there. They need to just. I hate to say that people have to have a place to live, but they need to relocate that area because all it's doing is creating a lot of hand exchanges of things, and you know what I mean, like people selling.
It's just not a good area. We're revitalizing downtown. I'm like, good luck, man. You're gonna have to.
It's tough.
Take on a whole half city.
I think with a lot of tourist cities, I think you go and you check out the skiing like mountain towns in Colorado and things like that. They're all feeling the same pinch of. We need people to work the day jobs, but the property values are getting to the point where they can't afford to live where they're trying to work.
100%.
So I think part of what this whole trend towards modernization of the casino floors might also be a reflection of the fact that they can't find enough people to live and work and do those sorts of jobs. So they end up, going electronic with some of it. And I don't know, for skiing towns, I don't know how you do that.
Look at Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
Wyoming. You ever Go look at real estate on Zillow at Jackson Hole.
Yeah,
The average house is like 1.5 million.
How do you live there as a ski instructor?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
I'm serious. So they systematically, I read a whole article on this a couple years ago about how Jackson Hole systematically, once they started getting like some celebrity money and people moving in there, they systematically started rezoning things in their city council meetings. So that says, okay, you've lived here for 50 years and your family's been here for 50 or 60 years and you have a house, but you have half an acre on it. Well, real estate was getting so expensive that people started selling off their half lots in the back and all that stuff. City council comes in and says, no, you can't sell any of your lots now. You can't like control everything. So now they're selling like $150 million ranches because it's got a view of the Grand Tetons.
Yeah.
I mean, so the people who have lived there their whole lives, like, are at the city council basically saying, you've made it unaffordable for us. And the city council is full of new members now. And they're basically like, oh, well, if you don't like it, then you can just move out of here. Too bad.
Right.
I mean, it's a completely scene going on there right now, man.
Well, we're going to end this show.
Anyways.
I'm going to talk about everybody, anything else about Vegas? Anything else? You guys have anything else to say? I want to give a shout out to that it looks like Samantha went and saw the Love Show. I saw that too. Very good show. I thought it was a very nice show.
Beatles Love Show.
Love Show.
Yeah.
Sick show, dude. I went down and saw that. I think that's over at the Treasure Island, I believe.
Yes.
I think it's there. So, yeah, if you guys want to check that out, that's a good show. You guys have any other thoughts?
No, man.
Is gaming going to stay here or is it going to go away?
It's going to stay here.
It'll just look a little different, maybe.
Vegas has always reinvented itself.
different.
I'm telling you. As usual with Vegas.
All right, guys, please tune in. We have a show pretty much every Tuesday. At least we try to be every Tuesday and Saturday. And we'll have Michael Quebeman back on again. And if you guys don't know Mike, let's go over and check Mike's information out really quick. I want to show him really quick here. Here's Michael Quebeman right here. And this is how you can get a hold of him. He's an attorney, actually. And
you wouldn't know by looking at him.
Yeah, right. And Mike, talk to us a little bit before we let you go on this. How can, obviously people contact you. What is the reason why somebody would contact you, just so they know what line of field you're in as far as the attorney?
So our law firm works in a lot of different areas. We actually just opened up a healthcare practice as well. So
wow.
So we're kind of expanding, entering new horizons that way. But generally speaking, a lot of our work is real estate, business, that sort of thing. Reviewing contracts, reviewing land purchases, all that kind of stuff. So, generally speaking, I think if you're going out and trying to buy a home, a lot of people can do that on their own.
Yeah.
I love to sell my services, but I'm not about to say that you need an attorney for literally everything that involves a contract.
Yeah.
But for some of the more complicated stuff, like if you own your own business and you're trying to start it up or whatever, you need to file paperwork, or if you're looking at selling your business or things like that, we can definitely help on something like that. If you're involved in, if you're trying to get into a commercial lease or something a little bit more, complicated like that, that's what we're there for as well. There's a bunch of different things that we do that way.
Good stuff, man. And also Brett is a real estate agent. If you guys didn't know, it's Simply Vegas. And Brett, man, what have you been up to, man? How's real estate going?
It's going well. Still a seller's market. Still 10 buyers for every listing on the market.
You got a $5 million buyer, you said, or something like that? Look at that smile, man.
13 million and another 5 million.
Wow. Look at this guy roll, man. He's looking good over here. He's just popping his collar.
Everything's this until it's this.
Right.
And I've been doing this long enough to know that nothing's nothing until it's this.
All right, guys.
So I don't get too excited, dude.
We're going to end this show. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back. I'll be back on Tuesday, and we'll also be back next Saturday. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to you then. Thank you for watching an episode of the French Workbench podcast. If you want to tune into past episodes, please subscribe to my channel now. Also, if you want to look at our audio-only options, we do have iTunes and SoundCloud.